Welcome to our Tuesday Talk series with the humans behind their business. Myself and Gay Moore have collaborated on this, and I'm grateful to say I'm bringing you a new one eventually because we've had a break for a month or so. And today I have Amarjot Bhogal. Did I get it right? Amarjot is a truly valued member of my network, and we've been connected now for over a year and built up great trust and connection. And she is a coach based in the UK who specializes in stress resilience, change management. I'll make sure she'll tell you what she does exactly now, and can truly vouch for her videos on LinkedIn are great, so please do check her out. So Amarjot, thanks so much for coming on here today. Really humble to have you here to join us. Can you just tell us a bit more about the work you do and what it means to you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Pauline. I just feel really passionately about people not giving themselves a hard time. I think we just, it doesn't matter what we do. Someone asked me this question this morning, and I said, my mission is to help people stop giving themselves a hard time. And for me, the reason it's so important to me is because I did it so much that I got to a place where I made myself ill. I suffered from burnout, and then had breast cancer, and it was the cancer that made me stop. And I thought, you know what, if I can even help one person to not go through that, then that's what I will do. So the work I do kind of centers around resilience, which I think is so much of what we do in our day-to-day life. And that's the thing, like all of us know, we live in a world where we kind of know what all this stuff means. We know that we have an emergency response system. We know about stress. We know what happens. But making change in our real life, in our work life, in our relationships is where it gets hard.
Yeah.
And then we start giving ourselves a hard time when we get in this vicious cycle, because I know this stuff, but why is it not happening then? And I think that's where asking for help is really useful, which, I'm not used to doing myself, and always learning to ask for help, to see where I need to stop, whether it's asking myself for help in slowing down, or whether it's actually asking somebody else for help, a coach, a friend, a relative, whatever that might be.
Yeah, not a sign of weakness, certainly a sign of strength to just put your hand up and say, look, can you give me a bit of guidance and perspective on this? And I totally get you. And for sure, you've a great story of resilience, having come to the adversity and the illness and the stress and the cancer. So it's truly inspiring. So no better person to help other humans actually, as you say, just not be so hard on themselves and admit when they need help. So, that kind of leads into, as a business owner, what would your core value be in your business then?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. For me, it always comes back to connection. Is connection. How can I connect with other people? How can I connect to myself? If I'm not connected to myself, I'm not going to be able to help others.
Yeah, I still get that.
Putting your own, what do you call it? Mask on. Yeah. Oxygen mask on. That one. It's putting your own oxygen mask on first, right? And so if I'm not connected to myself, then no matter what I do, any relationships, whether they're professional, personal, aren't going to work as well. And then, connection with other people. How am I connecting to other people? What can I bring into serving others? So it's definitely connection for me.
Connection, that's a lovely word. And it's one I haven't heard come up in the process of these interviews, because I usually ask everybody what their core value is. So, again, it's very individual and unique for us all. So that's a lovely word. What are the challenges, Amarjot, that you face as a business owner?
Oh, well, I think the biggest challenge I've faced in owning my own business is creating consistent income. Like, I'll just say it, is creating consistent income. And I still miss having a regular salary, sometimes. But it's and coming back to that, it's the how do I keep creative, how do I not give myself a hard time. And I think the biggest thing is taking myself too seriously.
Yeah, you gotta be able to laugh at yourself.
Well, I like to say laughing with myself rather than at myself, because at myself reminds me of the days when I used to I always forget what the word's called, but I used to self-deprecating humor. So I prefer to call it laughing with myself. But yeah, when I forget and take things too seriously and get too intense about things, I know that things aren't working. Like there's something wrong. There's, whether it's financial or mental stress or, whatever that is. And that's the thing, is stress doesn't go away. So it doesn't matter what you're doing.
No, it just builds, and it builds if you don't acknowledge it. And if you keep self-depreciating around it, like you're going down that downward spiral. So yeah, I get that. Like the challenges, the loss of the regular income, and then the self-depreciation, which sometimes leads into lack of motivation and confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah, and actually
it's human.
The other big thing, actually, maybe bigger than financial, is actually boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I love what I do, I don't always switch off.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to switch off. It takes, and because I do so much of my work online and through social media, it takes a lot for me to actually switch off for the day. And so for me, boundaries with my work is always, there's always a little bit of tension there. Like it's okay to switch off Amarjot. So I'm always practicing that.
Yeah. What strategies do you find work best for you to kind of get over those challenges?
Still working on them, but
work in progress for us all.
Always is definitely structural boundaries. So when am I going to switch off? And because sometimes I work from home, sometimes I'm out, sometimes I'm meeting people, whatever it might be, it's being clear on my week. So I can be clear on my month or whatever, but actually being clear on my week and when am I going to switch off? Because I do have evening calls and, evening online stuff and all of that. So it's like, well, actually, when am I giving myself a rest? Because if I'm still starting at 6 o'clock in the morning and then working till 8 o'clock at night, I've not changed then from when I was in the corporate world. So it's really structuring my day and allowing myself to rest in between, and laughing, chilling, making sure that I cook properly for myself. And again, that takes a lot of planning, not the laughing bit, but the planning my week. When am I going to eat? And I can get a bit like sort of blinkered about this stuff and very kind of structural, but actually it's needed, because when I can be structured about that work, or that when I'm going to switch off, then I can be more spontaneous when I want to go out and when I want to go for a walk and when I want to spend time with my loved ones. Then that's easier to be spontaneous with if I know exactly when I'm going to switch off.
Some people just have to operate with structure and strategy. Some people operate well on the edge of chaos and organized chaos. It's very individual. I kind of sway in between both. I'm 50-50. I would assume a lot of what you see is pretty relatable in your clients to what you do. Like the same kind of challenges show up. I'm sure there's similar themes that show up in your clients. Is there?
Yeah, it's definitely the giving ourselves a hard time comes up a lot. And that really is what it is. So it's whether we're and where we are in our individual journeys. So I think what comes up, it's the kind of the overachiever in us, and I don't like to label things, but actually all of us care about what we do. And all of us care about the people that we're with, and so we naturally do tend to give ourselves a hard time if something isn't working, or if we feel responsible for someone or something. And it's acknowledging that and recognizing, well, where is that coming from? And I think that's what comes up repeatedly. So it's boundaries. How am I respecting my time, my energy, my money, my relationships?
That's a good one. My money,
yeah, absolutely. And it all links in. And so definitely boundaries comes up a lot with my clients. Going back to consistency, which is not the same as, so what am I, if I'm trying to improve my health, my mental state, my emotional state, my relationships, my work-life balance, where am I creating consistency for myself? Because anything will work. Any of the tools I use will work for anyone, frankly. That's what I think. Or anything that somebody else might come up with. These are all useful tools and techniques that we want to improve our health, our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual state with. But how are we applying them? And I think consistency is what matters.
I love that. That's a lovely kind of question to kind of finish up on. It's kind of, how am I creating consistency in my life?
That doesn't mean it might to begin with, but it's consistency and rhythm. It's in with who you are. Like,
how does that flow into all areas of our life? Yeah, I love it. I love it. Listen, great points. Huge admiration for your work, Amarjot, and your story and your resilience, having come through all that you have, and a lot to share with many of us out there. Could you just tell us where you are? You're here on LinkedIn and your website, and where else you are on social media, so people can hook up with you.
You can find me on LinkedIn and on Instagram, and Facebook is Amaru, AMARROUH, which is my business page, and which means Eternal Spirit. And my website is amaru.com.
Great. Listen, thank you so much for joining us on the Tuesday Talks. I will watch your story with much curiosity going forward, and keep up the great work and videos here on LinkedIn. Talk to you soon.